Hello and welcome to Silver and Gold magazine on TV Kojiko. Today's a very special show. We're going to be discussing creating income from your home and affordable housing. I have two very special guests with us today. Bobby Asadorian. Bobby, you're a master contractor with RRR Inc. That's your own company.
Thank you, Suzanne, for having me on. Thank you.
And this book that you've written, which I must show, because if I don't show it, Bobby will have my head. So
that's true.
This is a contractor you can bring home to mom. Wonderful things, wonderful information.
Thank you.
And we have Garth Brown. Garth is affordable housing advocate for Halton region. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We have a show that's packed with information for our viewers today. So we're going to be talking a little bit about housing and how you can create income from your house, because as we know, income is always an issue, and many of the seniors in Halton region are struggling a little bit. They have their homes, many of them are paid for, and how we can help them, give them tips, or just plant the seed to create a little bit of an income. So, Bobby, you know a lot about this topic, and I guess it would be great to start with you. And if somebody wants to create an income property from their home, for example, their basement, and create a basement apartment, what's the first step?
The very first step, before even talking or thinking about it too much, especially before calling contractor in, call the municipality you live in, call the municipality, simply give them your address, ask them if it's legal. That's number one. Because just the fact of owning your home doesn't mean you can remodel the basement and rent it out. It varies from municipality to municipality. Some allow it, some don't. So right off the bat, if you're allowed, terrific. Then you have to decide, are you going to have family and friends help you? Which it's fine, as long as you're not fighting the whole time, or you're going to hire a contractor.
Sorry, Bobby, but even if you have friends and family help you, you still need to obtain a license.
Yes, a permit.
From a permit.
No matter what, you have to have the permit. And don't let anybody convince you otherwise. The permit means the city's going to come in at certain steps. They're going to inspect the job, make sure that it's safe. ESA will come in, Electrical Safety Authority, to make sure the wiring's right. So the way I mean, a homeowner can pull their own permit, do the work themselves, have family and friends help. That's completely fine.
And
I advocate
the city
for
still
that.
has to come in and inspect it.
Yes, definitely.
That's great.
So if you flip that around and you're hiring a contractor to come in, you want to make absolutely certain the contractor pulls the permit, because the permit is your first level of defense between you and the contractor.
Okay.
The city's going to make sure that it's all above board and it's all being done properly. Okay. There's a lot of income that you can make from your home. You know, a lot of people have the homes paid off, so they're home rich, but they're cash poor.
Exactly.
So by remodeling the basement or renting it out, it's a very good way that you can stay put, stay in your own home.
Okay.
I think to add to what Bobby's saying, the other element of that peace of mind comes into the insurance on your property.
Yes.
Because an insurance company will not insure someone if it has not been built properly in terms of that apartment space, whether it's in a basement or an addition or wherever in your home.
Okay,
so getting a building permit and making sure that everything's been approved is a very healthy way of going about it, to make sure that your insurance company covers you fully for any liability that might
When I think of my insurance renewals, it comes to mind now, and my basement's just plain, nothing's been done. It's the way the builder had left it. Every year when the insurance policy comes in, there's a little notice in there that if you spent over $5,000 on any home improvements, you must disclose this to the insurer. So the insurance wants to know that that they're insuring you for the right amount.
Exactly.
So it's sort of twofold with if you're remodeling the basement to rent it out. A, the insurance company needs to know that what kind of money you're spending, so you're properly insured. So if the damage occurs, a risk or a loss, they're going to pay you back or insure you to rebuild the basement to the way you had it. Secondly, it's very important and prudent that you let them know that you're going to be renting it out.
So Bobby, all of this information, the insurance and safety and all of this, is this all provided by the city's planning department when you approach them, or how do you find out? Like, how can the viewers find out?
Not necessarily. I mean, it is important. Go to the city directly. The city will let you know permits are involved, what inspections are involved, but they won't really get into too much with the insurance end of it. You have to know yourself. I mean, there's a lot of information online. but the city won't really get much into it with your homeowner's insurance. But definitely contact them, definitely.
Okay, so these are very important matters, obviously, for our viewers. The one thing I wanted to touch on, though, is get right into the nitty-gritty of income property. How can I make money out of my home? And going back to you, Bobby, before moving on to some of the amazing topics that you've brought forth, Garth, but what is the realistic cost that somebody can invest into their home if you want a basement apartment that's legal with a kitchen and a bathroom?
I'm glad you used the word realistic, and you used the word income property. It's not what you see on television at all. I don't want to say it's make-believe, but again, they've got sponsors. It's just different on television. In reality, if you want a self-sustained basement, so you've got a full kitchen, you've got a full bathroom, you've got closet space, this is building a house within a house. This can cost anywhere from $50,000 to even $80,000 and up. Now, why such a large figure? It's a gray area. There's no set standard. I mean, you've got everything from the cheapest flooring, from carpeting, right to $10 and $15 a square foot real hardwood, engineered hardwood. So it depends.
I was just going to mention that because we have seen, you know, it's a lot out there right now. There's a lot of home renovation television shows, and the topic surrounds, oh, it'll cost you $10,000, you know, but that's not realistic.
They make it sound too affordable, too easy. It's not. You have to do your research. Go shopping, spend some time in the big box stores. Get an idea of what's involved before you even think of bringing a contractor. It'd be nice to tell them we can only afford carpet. Instead of having your poor contractor quote on carpet, laminate, tile, porcelain. Knowing what you want really helps. And Garth, we're talking about accessibility as well.
Definitely.
This is a very important matter now when you're creating an income property from your home. And one of the information, one of the bits of information you brought was about accessory dwelling units.
Correct.
So can you explain a little bit about what that is all about?
Certainly. As Bobby's touched on, one very, I guess, the most common direction a lot of homeowners take is to change their basement around to make it a suitable living environment for an individual or possibly a small family, or perhaps some of their own family members. Which requires a separate entrance and all sorts of, again, building code requirements. Another option, before we get to accessory units, is co-housing. And co-housing is available for anyone throughout Halton right now. Municipalities do have variances as to how many people can live under one roof, but if you're sharing your existing home and looking for income from that shared experience, you're sharing the kitchen, obviously a bathroom possibly, or it could be just common area in a kitchen and every other person has their separate bathroom and bedroom. That can happen immediately. No building permit required. As again, speak with your city hall or town hall, find out from the municipality how many people can live in that environment, and you can be in a positive income flow overnight by doing that. So that's one option. The second, and as I say, the most common, is the basement opportunity. There is an investment involved, but with today's lending rates or a home equity line or whatever, the monthly payments can be offset immediately by the income you can generate from rentals. And to enhance on that a little bit, right now throughout Halton, the average vacancy rate is about 1 to 1.2%, which means there's hardly any stock of rental apartments available, and wherever there is, there's a wait list a mile long. So what's happening now is, with that build-up demand, if we can find ways to increase the supply, that supply will be met. And from following through on the third aspect which you've brought forward is the idea of putting an addition on the back of your existing home. And this has great opportunity for many seniors I've spoken to throughout Burlington, Oakville, and into Milton, because what it does is it allows that older person to stay in their home longer. Now the twist here can be is they can move out of the home they've been living in all this time, but build a very comfortable accessory dwelling unit at the back. It can be modular or it can be built with a full foundation. Whatever their choices are, the costs involved will range, as Bobby's touched on, from $50,000 upward, depending on what the bells and whistles are that you decide to put in. But please, for every homeowner, think about your mobility today and your needs today, But more importantly, think of what you're going to need 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
That's a great point.
And
Yes.
the beauty of this opportunity is you can make these units fully accessible, from the door widths to the counter heights in the kitchen and bathroom, to the bathroom itself in terms of a shower that's easy to navigate in and out of, rather than trying to do a hurdle over the traditional bathtub
Yes.
height. All of those things can be thought of today. Now, the owner of that home, or the owners, a husband and wife, can now move into that ground level accessory unit at the back and live there comfortably, close to their friends, their neighbors. Hopefully the neighbors are friends, and close to all of their doctors, shopping merchants, all the people they're familiar with.
So they're staying within their own community.
Exactly. They don't have to
Right.
pick up and move. And unfortunately, with the realities of the finances that Halton provides, finding a senior's home to live in, on average, and this is 2009 data, it was $3,700 a month to live in a senior's residence here in Halton.
Okay.
Those numbers haven't gone down at all, they've likely gone up. So looking at a cost-effective way, that homeowner can now move into that accessory dwelling unit and rent out the home that they've called their own for all these years.
That is a great, I hadn't even thought about that, because most people would think of staying in their own two-story home or larger bungalow and creating or building this accessory unit within their backyard.
Right, for someone else to live in.
For someone else to live in.
What about a shift?
Exactly, so their home is still their home.
Exactly.
And they can watch it and they can keep an eye out on it.
And vice versa. There's such an important element here, and everything we've talked about from the beginning of the program really ties to one word, and that is safety.
Yes.
The reason for building permits, the reason for credible contractors, the reason for the city or the town coming in to inspect your home at various points is so that you've got peace of mind.
Everything's safety.
And the challenge that several seniors I've spoken to have is that they can carry on in their home, but we're all one event away from having a change in our lifestyle, whether it's a slip and fall or other issue. When you have someone else on the same property, there's vigilance.
Yes.
Right? The home is lived in, even if you may not be home for a couple of
You're
days, you know
looking
the
after each
other
other.
people
Take care
are.
of each other.
Correct.
And
Yes.
it's a bit of a change, because being older, someone might have resistance to say, I don't know if I can handle being a landlord. But rest assured, there are contracts and leases in place that really do align with the very clear understanding that the tenant, whether they're in the existing home or in that accessory unit or in that basement apartment,
And as
they
Bobby,
have the guidelines to follow.
And as Bobby is a huge advocate for us, I have to say, because you've written so many articles for Silver and Gold, and you always say the same thing: safety first and
Yes,
due
always,
diligence.
Always.
Yeah.
You can't put that out to somebody else. Everybody has to be responsible to their own due diligence.
Right.
People like blaming a lot, but I mean, information's out there.
That's
Now,
right.
talking about, I mean, it's really sad that you work so hard, you get into your senior years, you've paid off your home, you're almost pushed out of it because it's the property taxes, it's the food, groceries, bills. People can't live off their pensions.
Right.
And I find that very sad that people end up losing their homes or selling their homes because they can't keep in pace with them, even though they've spent their whole lives to pay off this home.
Right. So these are really good, valid points for viewers to be able to even consider this. So,
Definitely.
for example, in the city of Burlington, how do you know if you're able to build an accessory dwelling unit? Like, we had brought a map. You brought a map for the viewers to be able to see that depicts, and you can see it on your screen right now.
Right.
And that basically shows what are the red areas, Garth?
Well, this is one grid, if you will, of Burlington. And when Affordable Housing Halton, the nonprofit I volunteer with, approached the city, it came to our attention that back in February 2010, the city proactively brought new bylaws in place that would allow any single detached dwelling the opportunity to build an accessory dwelling unit within it. Wow. Now, when I say any, it has to be one of the properties that fall into what we'll call the red zone here.
Okay.
And as you can see on this example, and I'll suggest it's consistent throughout Burlington, most properties in Burlington qualify. Most. There's some number was given to us recently of 30,000 single detached homes qualify right off the bat.
That's incredible.
Now,
excellent.
having
That
said
is
that, back
excellent.
to Bobby's point, call the City of Burlington. And
Yes.
we'll post the numbers later so that people can get that. Because once you've got that in place, then
There are the
and you know
numbers on the
where you are.
screen.
Yep.
You can call the planning department when you call your city hall or town hall for Oakville. So the Burlington, Oakville, Milton numbers are up on your screen. If you're interested in finding out more information, if your home qualifies, then they can phone those numbers. Garth, isn't that right?
That's correct. And I'd like to take it one step further in terms of the affordable realities that we face here in
Okay.
Halton. The opportunity is there for each and every homeowner to go ahead and build the basement apartment or co-house or put the addition on and rent it out at market rent. Put your listing on Kijiji, go wild, and rent it at whatever the market rate will be. I ask in your hearts to think of others in need in the region. Currently, there is a wait list in Halton of 2,140 applicants waiting for housing, subsidized housing. And I know when you hear subsidized, you immediately get your arms up saying, well,
Right.
what does that mean? Well, what that means is basically that individuals who are working but aren't making enough to pay market rent will get a subsidization through Halton Region or through other sources to pay a good portion of their rent. So that individual, those individuals have anywhere from a 2-year to over 10-year wait time to be on this registry
Wow.
that Halton Region currently holds.
That is a huge number. That's
So
incredible.
it's been a phenomenal experience over the last few months in promoting this opportunity, because as of last Friday, I met with a woman in Burlington who again is cash strapped. She has done some renovations in her home recently, took I guess a home equity loan to do that, but realizes that between her $400 a month utility bill and other things, she has struggles to make ends meet. She would like to offer her basement to someone in need, and she specifically asked if it could be someone from the wait list. So at Affordable Housing Halton, we've done our utmost to try to connect the dots, the people in need,
Yep.
with those who have property and interest in generating
That's
cash
wonderful.
flow. My wife and I, over a year ago, purchased a home in Oakville, and it had been previously run by a charitable organization supporting individuals recovering from addictions. And the beauty of the last 13 months is that those gentlemen have grown in esteem and abilities far beyond what the outreach support workers ever thought possible.
Right.
Wow.
And that's because they're given a stable environment for them to move forward in life. And so there are such a dichotomy of individuals in need, from youth to seniors. I mentioned the 2,140 on the wait list. 700 are seniors. Seniors looking for a home.
Well, Halton Region has a large amount of seniors, and
Yes, it
that's a
does.
study that we've come to know. I'm also a part of the Burlington Seniors Committee for the City of Burlington, and for Halton Region's ESAC, which is Elder Services Advisory Committee, and they said that 46% of seniors living in Halton Region reside in Burlington. It's a huge amount. So we definitely need some help with housing. And Bobby, so if somebody was interested, if somebody would be interested in having an accessory unit, is this something that they would call a contractor, or how would they?
Well, unless they're very experienced or very handy, more than likely they call in a contractor.
Okay.
Now, again, first call is to the city, find out what you need.
Yes.
Do your research, spend a couple of months, whether it's online, visit the big box stores, and then get the contractors in.
Okay.
Start evaluating them, start getting apples to apples.
Yes.
It's not going to be easy.
And
We've talked about this many times.
I know that I have to mention this because
References?
References. Tell us about references once
Yes,
again.
yes. Best way to explain this is how my father explained it to me. We don't live in the 30s and 40s anymore. You know, back then you didn't need a deadbolt. You didn't need a lock on your door. We've covered that with the contractor at your
Yes.
door. Don't just hand trust out. Let it be earned. So these contractors that are going to offer you 1 or 2 references, forget it. That could be their friends. Get at least 10.
10 references.
Call them all.
That's something you've always been a huge
It's so
advocate
important.
for.
It's so important because you start comparing, because some of the estimates, some of the references might not apply to what you need. So you're getting quotes on a basement. This contractor's references, some of them might be for roofing, kitchens, and bathrooms. So I mean, it's a test system here. You want to get 10, you want to call them all, and you want to keep them on the line as much as you can and really read into what maybe they're not saying as opposed to what they're just saying. Be careful. You have to be careful.
Well, there you go. We have some wonderful advice for our viewers out there. There's a lot to consider. And we have a couple of numbers up on the screen. We will put those out there for you. If you require further information about affordable housing Halton, you can phone the number on your screen or check out the website. And if anybody would like to get in touch with Bob Yasadorian, otherwise known as Just Ask Bob, please give him a call or visit his website. Thank you so much for watching this episode. We will be right back.